The following announcement is paid for by the Wrestling with Nerds.
From Mordor to Hogwarts to Gotham, the nerds have come together to create a show for nerds by nerds. Join nerds doing nerd things as they talk about all things nerdy. Stay up to date on the show by liking the Nerds Doing Nerd Things Facebook page.
This honky tonk man, greatest intercontinental champion of all time, and you're watching Wrestling with Nerds podcast. Yes, that's my favorite. Shake, rattle, and roll.
Hey there, the name's Nukem, Duke Nukem, and you're watching the Nerds Doing Nerd Things podcast. For some unknown reason, enjoy.
What's going on, wrestling nerds, and welcome to this week's episode of the Wrestling with Nerds podcast, when we're going back to 1997, March of 1997. We're going to be talking about Monday Night Raw and Monday Night Nitro, WWF versus WCW. I, myself, is the winning brand, I would assume right now, of WWF, while TJ is the WCW old hacks. At some point, Ryan will mention who won in February. Currently, as we sit right now, good guys 1, bad guys 0. So, as I do all the intro stuff, I will send it over to our moderator, mediator, person, thingy, person. Hi. It's Ryan Fry.
Hi. So for February, you had Super Brawl for WCW, and you had in your house Final Four for WWF. You had Piper spend a week in Alcatraz. You had Macho Man join the NWO. You had Sting. Is he or isn't he? And then you had the little things like Prince Iaukea wins the TV title. Couple little things here and there.
And I said his name right.
Okay, you earn 1 brownie point for saying his name right. At WWF, you have Shawn loses his smile. He loses the vacant again. He's lost a vacant more than anybody else in the history of professional wrestling. The Final Four turns into being a #1 contender match to the winner becomes the champion. Bret Hart comes out on top, beating Stone Cold, Vader, and Undertaker, and what I think is a very underrated pay-per-view in general. It's actually one of my favorite ones to go back and watch. So I would say, and then you have Bret loses the title the very next night to Sid.
Chair shot.
Because Austin decided to bring furniture, something like this. I think it was something like this.
You said it was in the mail.
Strangest Canadian customs I've ever seen.
They sent it back. No, actually, it's gonna get sent out this week. To be honest with you,
He's tired of having.
Things were pretty hectic this past week. I was planning on getting it out this week.
I don't blame you one bit, dog.
So
I'm gonna sleep with it when it gets
you've
here.
got Owen and Bulldog fighting amongst themselves, possibly, maybe a little bit.
Owen likes to fight with family, doesn't
he? Yeah, I this month is kind of more harder than what I thought it was gonna be, but I think I got it.
So you're saying there's a chance?
If you just look at the matches on paper, there's a chance, but when you watch the shows. And there's so much disorganization on Nitro that so really bad. It's just the star power is the reason that they get what they get. It's got to go to the WWF again for February. based on that premise alone, it's
just cleaner.
disorganized. Yeah, and it's so disorganized on WCW's end, where it's like 1 week Steiners get stripped of the tag belts and they fire Randy Anderson, and then they bring Randy Anderson's family in and tell him that his dad's still fired. It's just, it doesn't go, and then it doesn't go anywhere, because now we're building up to March, and you have Giant and Luger gonna challenge for the tag titles for the Outsiders, because the Outsiders wrecked the Steiners on a car, and it was like, what are you doing? You just had the Steiners win the tag titles from the NWO for you to take them back to the NWO, but then you're not letting them re-challenge for them. And are you Tony Khan in it, and you don't even have an idea how to get back to the Steiners? It's just confusing.
It's like they had a lot of really good ideas, and nobody like just put them up on a whiteboard of like, hey, this is how this needs to flow for the month.
So, where do you want to go from here, Ryan? How do you want to start March off?
Well, I think since you're overseas, let's start with you. March 3rd is the first Monday of the month. And you are in where?
Berlin, Germany at the Deutschland Halle. This is the fun episode where Jerry Lawler, I'm pretty sure, calls out ECW to show up the next week on Monday Night Raw, or as they're saying throughout the whole broadcast, Raw is War. They start teasing that.
Yeah, me and you had this discussion, and I'll break it down a little bit more. This is where the WWF is smarter, which was funny because, WCW is a wrestling company owned by a network television, where WWF is not owned by network television, but they outsmarted the network television, because what they did was, did you ever notice how 1 hour was Raw is War and 1 hour became Warzone?
Mm-hmm.
That's because they could get 2 shows in the top 3 on Monday nights. So it looked better to sponsors and advertisements and all that kind of stuff, because instead of your 1 show being in the top 3, WWF could claim that they had 2 shows either in the top 3, top 5, and it made it look good, better to, one, they're getting ready to go public. It's 1997. They're 2 years away from going public, but it looks better. That looks better to their advertisers and sponsors and all that kind of stuff when they say, well, we have 2 shows in the top 3 or 5 each week on Monday nights, and it's 2 separate. That's why they did it as 2 separate shows, which is very, very smart on their part, instead of just a 3-hour or 2-hour block of WCW Monday Nitro.
Which is weird because they presented Nitro as almost like 2 different shows.
That's the funnier part, was WCW was doing it, but they were keeping it under 1 show, whereas WWF wasn't doing it, but made it 2 shows. And it was just kind of funny on how that worked out.
Yeah, and back to March 3rd in Berlin, Germany. This is a very significant Monday Night Raw, which I'll get to when we hit the main event. But just the bullet points. Hunter Hearst Helmsley beats Bret Hart. Chyna steps up to Bret Hart here. And that was... I'm waiting for her to finally hit somebody or powerbomb a gun next week. Rocky Maivia defeats Vader by disqualification to retain his WWF Intercontinental Championship. So Rocky is still playing as your Intercontinental Championship. Psycho Sid defeats Mankind to retain the WWF Championship. But the really, really, really good match here is brother-in-law versus brother-in-law. The British Bulldog defeating Owen Hart for the WWF European Championship Tournament Finals. It's for the brand new title of European Champion that had a star-studded tournament to go through. And I love how they capped it off in Germany. And you could see, yeah, they're the tag team championships, but Owen's holding on to that title a little too tight for somebody who didn't win it.
Yeah, they ran a tournament through their tour of the European countries. In the quarterfinals, Brett beat Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Owen beat Flash Funk. Mankind lost to the British Bulldog, and Rocky Maivia lost to Vader, which is kind of funny because then they had a rematch, and then Rocky wins by disqualification.
Yep.
So in the semifinals, the Bulldog beat Vader, and Owen beat Brett, which is huge because internationally, Bret Hart is a bigger superstar internationally than he ever was domestically. So to even have this title and Bret Hart's not in the finals is very, very, I guess, mind-boggling in a sense.
Yeah.
But it
Plus,
makes
Brett
sense.
has his own feuds going into into Mania, so
Yeah.
smart move
And
there.
then of course, then Brett or Bulldog beats Owen, and this is a really, really good match. Really fun match to watch. It has that weird film to it because they are in Germany and it was
I was
recorded
waiting
and
to
all
see
that
how
kind of
long it
stuff.
was going to take for you to bring that up.
Yeah, I always know when they when I go back and watch old wrestling if they're overseas because it has that haze to it.
So there were a
I
couple cheap shots by Owen in this match that he
Yeah.
just played it off to, okay, my bad, and then they'll, okay, we're good. But
Yeah.
no Bulldog shenanigans, full Owen shenanigans, but Bulldog comes out the winner here.
Just because I'm a belt nerd, what are your thoughts on the European Championship as
It's
a title?
gorgeous. It is so gorgeous.
Thank you. I really hope that with the expansion overseas now that the WWE does, and that they, like you say, they are now a world company. I hope we get a European Championship back. I
Would it
think
be
it
main
would.
roster, NXT, or how would you run that?
I think you're gonna get an NXT when the NXT Europe stuff starts again, which is why UK closed, is because they're gonna go with those. There's gonna be a UK. There's gonna be
Damn
a
COVID.
China or Japan.
Are
There's
they going to
gonna
treat it
be.
as territories? Like how the
I
US used to
I
be?
I think that's what Hunter's goal is with NXT is that it would be like a territorial thing where you'll have like NXT Japan and you'll have NXT Europe and you'll have NXT here, and what they'll do is they'll work the NXT territories. They'll go from the Japan territory to the UK or the Europe territory to the US NXT territory. And I think that'll work out really, really cool. So I really hope that we get a revamped NXT European Championship and it's very similar to this title. Would be fun.
So, we have Teddy Fletcher in the chat. Because DDP didn't kill Nitro. He's not big enough for Karl Malone. DDP also killed the Utah Jazz final brawl in '98. And Jordan was champ. So I think he's about a year off there before we get to that. Ryan,
Yeah,
right?
we're in 97. Malone and everything take place in 98.
But shall we throw it over to Sir Nitro?
Yes, we shall. And
At that point,
March
I'm going to go get a
3rd,
drink then, because, TJ likes rambling.
March 3rd, Monday Night Nitro comes from the historic Omni in Atlanta, Georgia. Take her away, TJ.
Yeah, Atlanta, Georgia, the Omni. We've got a handful of matches, which is surprising for Nitro because usually we have like way more matches than need be. There's not, in my opinion, a lot of big story points this week on the show. Or a lot of them, there's some big ones, just not a lot of them. Which is surprising again, because as you've noted from my notes before, that I can have pages of notes per Nitro. And we kept this one kind of more short and sweet. The beginning of the night, we see the Horsemen have a fight, and they're together, but they're not in sync yet. Obviously, Jeff Jarrett being the new guy, him and Mongo and Deborah, and that whole love business triangle thing. I don't even know what to make of it. I don't know if anyone ever will in the moment. But yeah, Mongo ends up getting clocked accidentally. It looks accidental.
Don't we have a segment at the beginning with Bischoff that's quite important?
It's not at the beginning. I have it fourth on my list.
Okay. I
Of
couldn't
things
remember
that
if that
happen.
was at the very beginning or
No.
not.
We get the Horseman moment. We have it was a Conan and it was a Dungeon of Doom versus the Horseman. Conan and Hugh Morris, Jeff Jarrett, and Mongo. You can imagine how that goes.
What's his name?
Steve Mongo McMichael.
No, the other guy.
Conan.
You said it right there. You didn't say it right the first time.
Conan the Barbarian. No,
No.
just kidding.
Conan.
He's just you can't Conan a Conan.
Do you realize who Conan is?
No.
Conan is equivalent to the Hulk Hogan in the States is
No,
what
I
Conan
know, like
was in
I
Mexico.
get that. I don't know. Then
He's still
Too
trying
much
to find
Arnold.
himself in the States here.
I like him though. Like he's underrated in my opinion for how the show I mean, they give him all like these weird matches, but he kicks ass.
That's
Didn't
'cause
he
he's a
beat
worker.
Rey Mysterio?
He's the guy that brought all the luchadors to the States.
No, I mean when Rey Mysterio went into the Hall of Fame, wasn't he the one that inducted him?
Yes. Conan was the one that inducted Rey Mysterio. Because Conan's relationship with Rey and all the other luchadors, he's the guy that brought them all stateside.
Pretty
Good.
important guy.
If
We get a DDP throwaway match, which leads to a promo. DDP's just, he's pretty pissed off and wants to kill Savage. That's pretty much the gist of that one. We get a Kevin Sullivan and Jacqueline return.
I love our chat. I love our chat so much.
Okay. You wanna
Nope.
know?
Just spelling out double J.
Oh.
Double
Yeah, we get
JE
Sullivan and Jacqueline
J.
return first after they're, they all them and Redacted, murdered each other at the Cow
Hey,
Palace.
we're still doing that. Cool.
Just for you, pal. Just for you.
I
Chris
can't
Benoit can
believe-
be redacted.
I can't believe that's stuck for as long as it has.
Later in the evening, this is probably one of the biggest moments we've seen in as far as the NWO storyline goes. Bischoff gets suspended. I mean, like to the point of the guy that suspends him, which I don't even remember his name. He's kind of probably not important. I'm sure
His name is Harvey Schiller.
Sure, that guy. Says, I don't even want to know you're at a Nitro using the bathroom, dog. Like, just out.
And
Be gone with you.
And that guy is legitimately Eric Bischoff's boss.
Oh.
At the time. He is the guy in charge of overseeing WCW, and he's the Turner executive in charge.
Okay.
So they did do a good job of bringing those guys on television for those type things when it's needed. But yeah, so go ahead.
That was what I had for March 3rd. It's a kind of just a quick night.
What was your main event again?
We had the Steiners, Luger, and the Giant, which ended in a no contest because I believe they got attacked.
So another Nitro with another bad finish.
Go figure.
Do I know it's a good finish?
Do we get to do my special Nitro on March 10th now?
You have a special
He's got
Nitro?
he's got Monday Night Nitro, or he's got Monday Night Raw on March 10th.
Yeah, but he can wait. You went first.
That's fine. Let him go. Let him
All right.
go.
Dude,
Well,
this is quick. Honestly, this is quick. This is like
is this the Nitro? I think it is.
spring break.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I think the coolest part about this night is the match is in the middle of a pool. Or the ring is like in the middle of a pool. They are in Panama City Beach, Florida at Club La Vela.
Club La V.
Sure. Whatever. I had three storyline notes from the whole night. It's more matches than anything on this one. And not a lot of like stuff in between. The ring is literally floating over a pool. It looked really cool. Not gonna lie. Kind of had wished people had fell in the pool. Would have made it, a little more believable. But it doesn't happen. We get Piper's family in this one, which I got brownie points when I was talking about it because one of his family is Earthquake, and they don't ever actually say that it's Earthquake, but you can tell, you know. You know. But the four horsemen join up with Piper's family to take on Hogan and the NWO. And at this point, I'm still trying to figure out, like, we're building to Uncensored, and there's this, like, match at the end of Uncensored that originally I thought it was like an 8-man versus 8-man fight. Hence why the four horsemen would join the four people of Piper and his family. That's what I thought was happening. That would be wrong when we get there. It's the next thing. Because it happens between my nitros. But yeah, match-wise of importance, again, we get Jeff Jarrett and Mongo. They fight High Voltage. They win. Prince Iakea fights, what do they call him? Squire Dave Taylor. He's like Regal's buddy. Eddie Guerrero. Baines, DDP kills Sergeant Craig Pittman. Rey Mysterio defeats Galaxy. Luger, the Giant, Signers defeat Greg, the Hammer Valentine, Roadblock, and the French Canadian guys there.
Jacques Rougeau and Pierre Lafitte.
Yeah, that one. They only list it, and the thing is Pierre. They don't have his last name. We get another Ultimo Dragon versus Juventud Guerrero. Scotty Riggs defeats Jericho via disqualification, which is weird because Jericho had almost seemed protected for a lot of anything I've seen him, because we don't see him a lot, but we should be, because every time he's in the ring, it's phenomenal. It's Jericho, go figure. But then we get Kevin Sullivan versus Hardbody Harrison, which ends in a double countout. No one falls in the pool.
Remember how we all called Benoit redacted?
Mm-hmm.
Hardbody Harrison is another one that should be redacted. You guys can look him up on your own time. So your main event, the main event for Monday Night Nitro in Spring Break is Kevin Sullivan versus Hardbody Harrison.
Ends in a double countout. Nobody ends up in the pool.
And you wonder why WWF wins every month.
But that's the weird part. We're almost 30 years later. Nitro was killing WWF.
Well, you had the star power. I mean, I believe that the night ends with Piper and the Horsemen in the ring. And I'm not talking like redacted. I'm talking like Flair and Arn Horsemen. Like, they're there. Well, Flair's there. Arn's kind of having issues.
It's just funny. It really is. For me, is TJ done with his Nitro on March 10th?
Listen, Spring Break was important, man.
I mean,
the ring was over a pool.
I'm pretty sure this is about to be important.
Anyway,
yeah, because I mean, right now we're in the middle of the 83-week streak. That's why I picked 1997. And how in the hell does this show that you just called off beat what happens on Raw on March 10th?
Do you want to know what starts March 10th?
ahead.
Live versus recorded. That's the
No,
only thing I can think of.
Just trying not to get copyright taken down for this one. The beautiful people, the beautiful people.
Yes, this is the first intro with the new stage and everything, which is kind of cool how they were in, like, it's like, hey, let's go overseas for a week and
And they
then
come back with a reset.
let's come back with it. Yeah, exactly. Nice little set there.
And it is dope. Pyro, the theme music. Welcome to Raw is War. And the whole like 30 seconds like into Raw, everybody was popping. I was popping. I couldn't be jumping up in the air because I was kind of driving a vehicle, but doing illegal things, people. But to start off this Raw,
We do it for your guys' enjoyment.
yes, we do. Hopefully nobody from my job sees this. What? Rocky Maivia defeats Tony Roy to retain his Intercontinental Championship, but there's somebody in the ramp front row getting a
You tell.
he holds up the world, and his name is Tony.
Tony Atlas.
It was Tony Atlas. It was pretty cool. I wasn't expecting it. I think he actually pulls him up to the ramp too. But Ahmed Johnson defeats Roy Raymond in a very quick squash match. The next match was a lot of fun. The new Blackjacks, Blackjack Bradshaw and Blackjack Wyndham defeat the British Bulldog and Owen Hart by DQ. And it was for the tag team championships. As much as I like the British Bulldog and Owen Hart, they lose almost every match they're in via disqualification. I get it's a story way to keep the titles on them and everything, but damn.
To be fair, I mean they do lose to 2 Hall of Famers, right?
I feel like we
Yes,
get there.
they lose the Bradshaw and Barry Windham. Yes.
But still,
It's a very 80s way of thinking with your tag team champions.
okay.
They look good, but they lose the match by DQ. They keep the tag titles on TV.
Champion's advantage, man.
Did you have a really cool 6-man tag match too?
Oh, are you
Notes.
talking about the heavy metal Pentagon and
It's kind of funny because WCW claims to have the cruiserweights and everything first, but this is the WWF dipping their foot into trying to come up with a light heavyweight division, so to speak, where they're using people from, I want to say it was CMLL, but it could have been AAA.
I thought it was AAA.
Yeah, I couldn't remember which one off the top of my head, which one it was. You get Pentagon, which I believe is the predecessor to the one that we get on TV now.
Pentagon Senior.
Mexico luchador wrestling is really weird because they don't have to have a direct bloodline.
Yeah, they don't have to be related.
Um,
Wait, what was? Oh no, Ricochet was Prince Puma.
Did you see the one thing about Rey Mysterio now saying he wasn't the one that did the stuff with Freddy vs. Jason? I know it's off topic, but it just popped in my head.
Because it was his uncle. His
He
uncle
thinks.
is Rey Mysterio. He thinks.
He thinks it was his uncle.
But you get a lot of these luchadors are very costumey. I mean Octagon. I remember he had like a weird costume, and then
He had a hell of a mask.
you get kind of cool. It's kind of funny because like WWF is using a guy here named Hector Garza. Hector Garza goes to WCW and becomes a cruiserweight, and they make him. It's actually the one thing that WCW made more over than WWF, because Hector Garza, his finishing move is like a, I can't remember what they called it. It's a corkscrew splash. He literally jumps off the top rope and spins around twice and splashes you, like
wow.
torpedo type spin. And WCW made a big giant deal out of him. They don't do anything with him, of course, because he's a cruiserweight. But he's on WWF television first before he goes to WCW TV. I digress. Go ahead. Move on.
So as I've been doing, I'm skipping some matches because, like I said, Ahmed Johnson had a squash match and everything. Miguel Perez beats Leaf Cassidy or Al Snow. Billy Gunn beats Aldo Montoya. Goldust defeats Tim McNearney. A lot of squash matches tonight, Ryan.
I see this.
Is it more of like a leading up into WrestleMania kind of thing? Like trying to make the people that are going to have the important matches at WrestleMania go in
I think you
strong?
got to think about it this way. It's a new stage, it's a new set, it's a new show.
Have your big
So
players.
the one thing WWF was always better at WCW at doing, and they're still better than everybody else to this day with it, and it pisses a lot of the die-hard wrestling fans off, is they're always trying to attract that new fan. So if you are debuting a brand new show or a revamped show and you got people flipping the channel, you want your superstars to stand out when they're looking. So somebody like Goldust, if I'm flipping through TV and I'm like, holy shit, that dude's all gold. I'm gonna stop and watch for a minute and he's destroying a guy, then you have my attention.
And
Save
he
your
wears a
man,
wig. Weird.
save your superstar versus superstar stuff for the main event.
Well, speaking of one of the main events, or actually it is the main event, Mankind versus Vader defeating Psycho Sid and The Undertaker. And early on, it was just Psycho Sid. Undertaker did not come out basically saying, I don't need you, I don't want you, I can do this myself, I can't trust you.
Has it been announced yet for the main events for WrestleMania?
Yes.
So we're on the road to WrestleMania. We have Psycho Sid versus Undertaker now instead of Brett. Brett's not in the main event picture. Uh, Mankind and Vader are tagging now. They're gonna. I don't know if it's been announced yet on this Raw, but they're gonna challenge for the tag titles. And then you have Brett and Austin. Notice you haven't had Austin in 3 weeks. You've had no Stone Cold Steve Austin in any of
And he
these.
mentions that the next week.
Yeah, since he wiped out Brett with the chair and cost him the WWF title, you get no Austin for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to build that Stone Cold character still at this time.
Yeah, he's just starting with and that's the bottom line. And then something else instead of Stone Cold said so. And then as we get towards the end of the month, that's when he starts saying because Stone Cold said so. So that character is still moving. We do get the special referee announcement for the Austin Hart match, a submission match at WrestleMania 13. That's Ken Shamrock. Who better? Like honestly, back in this 1997 era, there I don't think could have been anybody better to referee a submission match than a UFC champion that is
I agree.
making the jump to WWE with. I don't know if they fully announced that he's making his jump to WWF yet, but
He's the world's most dangerous man for a reason.
yeah. And he'll say, I'll keep it right down the line. What's fair is fair. I'm just there to call a submit. That's it. And then I think Ryan, I talked to you with this before. I don't know if TJ's heard this. I am sick and tired of Bret Hart's whiny bitch ass. That's all he does. Literally.
It's all he still does.
But it's to the point where it is so annoying. I want to make a sign like how they have in the crowd saying Brett's crying again, and just hold it up to my computer screen.
It's so aggravating for me to watch this back. I just want to kick him in the head.
So
yet he was like worldly loved.
Well, we'll get to that because he goes on a tangent where my friends in the Middle East love me. I get cheered in England and Ireland and Europe and Canada, but when I come to the US, for lack of better terms, F you.
Yeah, and Austin plays into that and talks about Brett whining all the time and how he
So does
cried to
Shawn.
Gorilla. Well,
Shawn
I'm
comes
not really
out.
paying attention. I'm not paying attention to Shawn Michaels at this point because
Well, but he does come out because obviously, if you're gonna talk about somebody, their music's gonna hit. They're gonna come down. Um, Shawn goes, "They paid for a ticket. They can either cheer you or boo you. That is their right. And you want to know something? We have a thing in America that is, if you don't like it, leave it." Told that to the Snow Mexican. Threw TJ off there. This was
all
really
right.
good.
So TJ, are we at a? We're still not yet at a pay-per-view, right?
Oh, we are. That was the thing. That spring break episode is the go home show for a pay-per-view.
You've already. I'm telling you now, you've already lost this month.
You think?
This is horrible.
You think?
Is it because I have Mania and how good
No,
Mania was?
your go-home show to a pay-per-view, and your main event is Kevin Sullivan and versus Hardbody Harrison.
Trying to
And
give
he
him a
ain't
little,
even wrestling on the card.
trying to give him a little bit of credit there.
I mean,
Jesus.
technically, they end the night in the ring with the whole thing with Piper and the Horsemen. But still, the main event match has nothing to do with the pay-per-view.
Okay, TJ.
Yet, the guy doing the promo for the pay-per-view is a member of the Dungeon of Doom. It's Hugh Morris. Ugh.
So we're in Charleston, South Carolina.
North Charleston Coliseum or some.
Attendance is 9,285 people. The tagline is "You'll never see it coming." No shit.
Now, mind you, I want to mention in all of this.
You'll never see it coming because I don't know what the fuck is coming.
Right,
Sorry.
and I want to mention this right now. Nowhere have I mentioned this name, but yet who has the biggest impact in this match at the end of it? Dennis freaking Rodman. We haven't mentioned him in the 2 Nitros we've had leading to this, and Dennis Rodman is involved in this match. Why? Why did we not do? Oh my god. Anyway, I digress. We start the evening off with Dean Malenko defeating Eddie Guerrero for the U.S. title. That was all because of Dean blamed Eddie for him losing
the cruiserweight title. He lost the cruiserweight title to Six, and
we covered it last month.
Yeah, Dean blamed Eddie. Almost 20-minute match. It's Dean Malenko and Eddie Guerrero. It's not a bad match.
No, it's great.
And it's for the WCW United States Championship, which is technically their workers' title at this point. So,
Ultimo Dragon with Sonny Ono defeats Psychosis.
Well, wait a minute. Was it Ultimo Dragon or Ultimate Dragon? Because this is the time period where they can't figure out what the hell his name is.
Listen, it could have been the Ultimate Dragon. I don't freaking know. They add the, they subtract the Ultimo.
Yeah.
That was funny.
Glacier defeats Mortis. Now that's an interesting one that I want to go to you with. You talked about the introduction of Glacier and Sub-Zero character and all this kind of stuff. Who is Mortis and when did he debut?
I don't even remember now. I mean, it says his name is James Vanderberg.
Well, James Vandenberg is the manager. What it ended up being, I believe, is Vandenberg wants Glacier's helmet because he collects artifacts.
You went over
and
my
he
helmet?
brings a character named Mortis, and now you get a whole little Mortal Kombat type
looking
feud
thing
between Mortis and Glacier, and then there's more characters to come. This was a good story. Bad
like a
timing.
lost in the freaking shuffle.
Bad timing. You go from WCW turning it up to reality with the whole NWO takeover thing, and then you introduce the cartooniness of the Mortal Kombat characters. If this story between Glacier and Mortis and James Vandenberg and the guy later on will be Wrath will show up, if they would have done this a year prior, it would have went over. But because this is during this time where WCW turns into the reality show, basically, with the NWO and being serious and the hostile takeover and all that kind of stuff, this story falls flat on its face. As a kid, I loved it because it was Mortal Kombat. It was Sub-Zero versus like Reptile or one of those
Yeah.
type characters with Mortis. And then you introduce Wrath, who is Brian Clark, Adam Bomb,
Big dude.
big dude who does some martial arts kicks and everything. And then you introduce Ernest the Cat Miller to help Glacier. It becomes a really cool little story, but it's just bad timing because one, nobody cares because all anybody talks about is the NWO. But two, you want us to make it believable and it's a hostile takeover, but then you have this cartoony storyline going on that doesn't involve a championship. I don't want to watch it type deal.
If anything, it should have started the night so that it was like a, hey, check out this cool little thing that WCW is still here trying to do stuff while this
I think one of the fun things to do is to go back and rebook WCW in this sense of somebody that knows what the hell they're doing. I think the Mortis Glacier run matches would have been a lot more fun if it was like the TV title. Like put the TV title on Glacier and let him run through Mortis and those guys, and it would have had more attention to it, and it would have been more entertaining to watch. But anyhow, your next match is a blood feud.
Bagwell defeats Scotty Riggs in a strap match.
Of course, we have the breakup of the American Males, which if you haven't went and listened to the American Males WCW ring music yet, I highly suggest you do. It's one of the best ring musics of all time.
That's what you said the last time I mentioned them.
I know, and you two, neither one of you have commented back, so neither one of you have listened to it yet. I'm the guru for a reason, and you won't listen to me.
Oh, we listen. You scare us sometimes.
Yeah.
It's a strap match. Was this a strap match, or was this your four corner match that you liked?
It says strap match. Honestly, like
when you watched it,
there were parts of this that I don't even remember because it was
it's a strap match, which most likely is the four corners touch all.
Which I like that match. It's just.
But here's the thing. You have a show called Uncensored where there's supposed to be no rules, but evidently there's rules in the two matches between the U.S. title match and the strap match. But then you have a strap match on the card. So far, at the beginning of this year, you've already had 4 strap matches. There's no value to a strap match when you get to the 4th time between these two. If you're gonna make it these two and it's a blood feud, this should have been like a cage match instead of a strap match. It's the same concept. You can't get away from them if you're strapped to them. You can't get away from them if you're in a steel cage. It's the same concept. That's probably where this match should have went because, like I said, you've done saturated television with 3 other strap matches. Just because you put Mexican in front of it doesn't change the strap match. You probably should have went with a different match other than a strap match. What's your next match?
Harlem Heat defeats Public Enemy in a Texas Tornado match.
I would imagine. I haven't went back and watched this pay-per-view fully, but I would imagine that this was a pretty good match. Harlem Heat are still pretty fresh. They only have been in WCW for 3 years. They got Sister Sherry with them now, which I always liked Sherry Martel as a manager, and her with Booker and Stevie just makes sense. Public Enemy, they're ECW guys. They got over big on ECW and then got out of ECW. They probably should have stayed there. They were the Dudley Boys before the Dudley Boys as far as like using table spots.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they always try to get a table involved in everything they do.
Later on, you'll find when they go to the WWF years later, they get their asses handed to them by a certain protection agency that they decided to try to potato in the ring, and they literally beat the shit out of them in a match.
Wait, is that what that
And
sounds for? Shit, I always thought that was always pounding ass.
yeah. All right, guys. What was your next one?
Prince Iaukea defeats Ray for the World Television Championship.
I broke him.
Oh my.
So Prince Iaukea beats Rey Mysterio. Does this go to a draw?
It doesn't say it. It says defeated. I don't recall it being a draw. I think Regal gets involved, if I remember right. Pretty sure Regal cost him the match. I think Regal grabs his feet out from under him, and Ray face plants, and Regal
Okay,
tosses him
I
in.
remember this now. Yeah, and then you're gonna get this. What are they calling it? A triangle elimination match.
Yeah, I figured we'd get to here, and I'd cover the notes part of the for this thing, because I did have some stuff. It was supposed to be 3 teams of 4. Rick Steiner gets taken out at the top of the show, so there goes one of your Team WCW guys. We did have Savage and Elizabeth attack DDP and his wife Kimberly.
Which they were actually married, right?
Yes.
That happened earlier in the night.
This is the spray painted where she comes out in the
Kimberly.
dress, right?
Yeah, she's all spray painted, and DDP's all concerned, and Macho jumps him, and then
This is where you find out that Kimberly has a spread in Penthouse.
centerfold. It's, I believe, Playboy, isn't it? Maybe.
I can't remember if it's Playboy.
It's like
or
some
Penthouse.
celebrities. It's got Pam Am.
I'll tell you this much:
If
you
it's
are
Pan
now
Am, it's Playboy.
Yeah.
you are now on the road to the best story WCW ever did. You that is the beginning of that story, and that is by far the best WCW story there is between Savage and Page.
We get Hogan, Macho, and the Outsiders cut a promo guaranteeing victory later in the night. Get a promo from the WCW team. Then we get to this really odd final match, which was supposed to be Piper and his family, turns into Piper, Redacted, Mongo, and Jeff Jarrett. Even though Flair had said he was going to fight in it, Flair is nowhere to be found. That's Team Piper. Team WCW is Lex, Scott, and the Giant, because Rick got murdered. Remember?
The rules of this match are really weird.
It's like
3 men start the ring, 1 from each team. After 5 minutes, 3 more would enter from each team.
And then, like, after
2 more minutes,
yeah,
another person from each team would enter.
at one point you're supposed to have one team's supposed to have it. It's kind of like a War Games, but not.
After the remaining Americans would enter, after the final 2 intervals, wrestlers could be eliminated by pinfall, submission, or if they went over the top rope and both feet touched the floor. It kind of sounds like a Royal Rumble
Mixed with a War Games kind of, because, like,
yeah,
I mean, it was weird.
it sounds weird.
We start with and Team NWO was Hall, Nash, Hogan, and Macho, and accompanied by Dennis Rodman.
Is this the stipulations where if NWO wins the match, they can challenge for
anytime, anywhere?
Okay.
If WCW wins,
Hogan has to give up the belt or has to face Piper again.
Okay, not even just no. If Piper wins, Piper gets Hogan in a steel cage match, and then to guarantee that Team WCW was never winning this match, if WCW won, the NWO wouldn't be able to compete for the next 36 months.
Your face tells it all.
Yeah, we're going to have the hottest thing on our television program suspended for 36 months, including the current world champion, tag team champions, and cruiserweight champion. Face,
So
palm.
It goes down like this. The Giant is eliminated over the top rope
Like,
by
dumb.
Team WCW.
So dumb.
Kevin,
Yes, the two teams that should be trying to get rid of the NWO.
the Jeff Jarrett is eliminated by Kevin Nash. Steve Mongo McMichael is eliminated by Scott Hall. Steiner is eliminated by Nash. Piper is eliminated by Hogan. Benoit is eliminated by Hall and Nash. That's the first 6 eliminations of the match. All of them by over the top rope.
No pinfall.
So you know what that tells me?
No submission.
You know what that tells me? Nobody wanted to take a pinfall amongst those guys, so they went, well, let's add this over the top rope thing so that you don't lose any heat by getting pinned. The only guy that did the job for anybody, the only 2 guys that did the job all night long are Randy Savage and Scott Hall, who both get eliminated by Lex Luger with the torture rack. Nash gets eliminated over the top rope, and then Hogan pins. Of course, Hogan's got a pin. I know I'm a Hogan fan, but I'll pick on him here. Of course, Hogan has to get the only pinfall of the night, pinning Luger after Savage hits Luger with the can of spray paint handed to him by
Dennis Rodman.
Dennis Rodman. So that the only sole survivor of this whole match is Hollywood Hulk Hogan.
But wait, there's a hero from the rafters. Finally fucking doing something 3 months into the goddamn year.
He was up there for a while. He was probably getting bored.
Sting makes a stunning entrance and finally takes out every member of the NWO. I feel like they waited too long for this.
Nope.
I mean, it's
Let it
great
go.
that it finally happened, but like,
the way that this storyline works, because the coolest thing about this is about Sting not talking. So it's everybody's narrative of whose side is he on. NWO's like, oh, he's on our side.
Yeah, he's
We've
black
talked
and
to him.
white.
to the point that they
we've-
hand him a shirt and it's like
Yeah,
on his shoulder at one point.
We've talked to him, but you can't go ask Sting if he's actually talked to him because he's not talking to anybody. So it's kind of like,
Is this the last time have we seen the last of NWO Sting prior to this?
if you do, I think if you do, it's just a one-off type deal.
Because like
or he's
he
in the
was
crowd.
big there for a hot moment,
this-
and then
This is probably the point now where him and Norton and all of them are headed to Japan. So
who was NWO Sting? Anybody we knew?
No.
Just some guy that kind of looked like him.
If you watched a little bit about a year before this in WCW, Craig Pittman, the guy that lost to DDP the week before on Nitro, he had a storyline with a guy named Cobra. They were supposed to be military enemies, didn't like each other when they were in the military together.
Yeah.
That's who it was. I can't think of what his name was off the top of my head.
It was Sting's stunt double on Hogan's show.
I want to say his last name was like Farmer or something like that. I could be wrong without looking it up. I can't really remember. But I mean, they go to Japan and he gets over because Japanese people think he's Sting. I guess I don't know. But
He's Sting's stunt double on Hogan's TV show.
all right, so we're gonna go to.
Hey, that was uncensored.
I'm tired of hearing from you, so we're gonna go to March 17th. Pivotal
Raw?
day in wrestling history, right?
Yes, very much so.
For Monday Night Raw. What the hell is that arena they're in?
It is the. You want me to try to say that?
on
I think that's why
Daga
he asked
War
you.
Memorial. Hey, it's your
On
guys'
Daga?
neck of the. It's on your
Daga?
guys' neck of the woods, not
Daga?
mine.
Oh, Syracuse, New York is closer to
Spell it.
Michigan. ONONDAGA.
On Daga.
Onaga.
Oh,
On
yes,
Daga
sir.
War Memorial.
It's Native American, my guy.
But before we get into Monday Night Raw on St. Patty's Day, I want to say thank you to everybody for liking, subscribing, following, sharing out. We are now back live on Facebook, and we only missed one bleeping episode. Thank you, everybody. Ryan, thank you for your help. TJ, go yourself.
Hey, I went to our friend group.
Yeah,
Our friend group already likes it.
Sure they do.
yeah. Let's go with that one. Thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate your support.
Yeah, no, holy cow.
And yes, that's shot across the bow. Thank you.
Let me not go into that because I have some really bad things to say about a lot of people. But to the Facebook community, Twitter community, YouTube kind of helped out with another channel of mine that we're associated with. Thank you. We got over 100 in Ryan 4 days.
Yeah, I got a big shout out to the guys that did my wrestling show in September. They've been very helpful. I think all the 4 of the kids that were helping me with that show that are now wrestling, they followed us with their wrestling page, and then turned around and followed us with their private page. So I can't thank them enough to get us up over 100. I was sending tags to people that I knew didn't like wrestling, and I didn't even care. I don't even
Dude.
care if you followed it and then blocked it, snoozed this for 30 days. Just give me the follow. I don't care.
My profile that we run all the nerd stuff, wrestling with nerds, nerds doing nerd things, all that stuff off. It's a separate profile than my normal Facebook page. Because with Streamlabs, you're attached to one YouTube channel. That's it. Multiple Facebook channels, but if I wanted a Wrestling with Nerds Facebook channel and it go to their YouTube, I had to create a separate profile. So thank you everybody for adding me as a friend on my second profile account.
And not reporting you as spam.
I had a lot of messages. And a lot of them were like, "Is this you?" I go, "Yes." Okay. They were ready to have the spam
Facebook death.
Or if you want to go Matt Hardy and delete.
Render you obsolete.
But yeah, just thought it'd be a great time as we're basically halfway through the month of March, going over it, to say thank you. It means a lot that we're able to grow this channel as fast as possible to continue to do what we enjoy doing, and comment, like. We enjoy communicating with you. Ryan had an amazing question this week of what is your top, what was it, wrestling match? Your Mount Rushmore of wrestling matches? Or
No, it was if you took a tag team from each of the past 6 decades
No, what
and you
was the
put
other
them
one?
in a. Is that the one you're talking about?
No.
I don't think I made 2.
I think you made 2.
Not that WWE needs a shameless plug, but the guy that made the really cool intro for us, top of the show, he's now in WWE 2K24.
If you can download it, yeah, cool.
Was it broken?
I think it's still broken. I'm not sure.
WWE begins to put matches into the Hall of Fame similar to UFC does their fights. Which match would you put in? We had over
You did that, You did that post, bozo.
I did? Oh, I thought it was you.
Yeah.
You did something smart and you're not taking credit for it?
Yeah, I'll give you
we
credit for
had
that one. That was you.
Almost about 10,000 view the post, and we had a lot of people comment on it, which I'm kind of looking for.
I posted the question of the day 3 days ago, and it was, let's play Booker. Take one tag team from each of the last 6 decades, put them in a 6-team tag team turmoil match. Who wins all the gold? It's from the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 10s, 20s.
My wife hit that fucker right out of the park. I remember that comment.
And I love how I wanted you to pick of all of them, and I got answers from AJ where it was just one team.
Well, that was, you specified on only one of them that you wanted us to pick 6 people.
But yeah, Jess definitely knocked it out of the park.
And a
I don't
lot
know
of it
if
has to do
she,
with her father.
I
How
don't know
much he liked wrestling.
if she Googled it to figure out who they were,
She
or
did
if
it
she
right
just
next to
remembered
me.
here. But pulling Fuji and Tanaka out of her hat for the 70s was a pull that I was not expecting to see.
It was her father.
Nikolai and Sheik for the 80s, that's a pretty good pull too. Uh, Dudley's for the 90s, DX, so you're getting Shawn and, well, actually, no, 2000s, you could still get the Outlaws, or you could get X-Pac or Hunter. The 10s being the Shield, and the 20s being the Mysterios. That's a hell of a 16 turmoil match. I could probably put that one on WWE 2K. We could probably do that, and we can simulate the outcome for that one. That would be kind of fun to do.
As she was typing that, she was reading them off to me. I'm like, where the fuck are you pulling these names? She goes, my father liked wrestling well before I was born. I go, okay.
This is where Jess is Miss Nerd.
She very much is.
Wears
Miss
it
Nerd.
proudly.
That's quite a pull. I was kind of hoping after we got the passing of Alpha, or after Sika's passing, that the 70s, a lot of people were going to say Wild Samoans. But there's plenty of other teams. You could Patterson and oh shoot, I just had his name on my head and I can't. That's gonna piss me off. Hold on a minute.
You don't want to go with Rocky Johnson?
Yeah, you could go with Rocky Johnson and Tony Atlas. You could definitely use them as a tag team from the 70s. That would make a lot of sense. Ray Stevens is who I was thinking about. Pat Patterson and Ray Stevens is the Blonde Bombers. I think we're the Blonde Bombers.
So
yeah. That was a pretty good tag team for the 70s.
The one I put about the matches in the Hall of Fame had a lot of people view it, but these were some of the matches. Ryan, TJ, I want to get your consensus on where you would put this, like, diamond tier all the way to just barely making it in. Hogan and Andre, WrestleMania 3. No, where does it go? All the way to the top or barely making it in?
It's the reason. It's the reason they had drew 93,000 people to that arena that day. It wasn't because of Savage and Steamboat. It was because of Hulk and Andre.
It may be WrestleMania 3, but it's probably the most famous WrestleMania.
Hogan and Macho, WrestleMania 5.
It's without a doubt one of Hulk Hogan's best matches. Savage wrestled with a staph infection in his elbow. It's the Mega Powers explode. It's the end. It's the conclusion of the best story WWF told in the 80s.
Todd Miller, who was just in the Facebook chat, Stone Cold and Brett, WrestleMania 13. Don't blow me out of the water yet.
It's without a doubt the best double turn ever.
HBK, Taker, WrestleMania 25.
See, I like Shawn versus Taker. It happened enough that you got tastes of it, but
that's the retirement match, right?
No.
That's next year.
WrestleMania 25 is heaven and hell. To me, yes, it's the culmination of it's the beginning of the end for Shawn Michaels' career.
I can beat you.
But their Bad Blood Hell in a Cell match is still better to me than both WrestleMania matches.
Is 25 up there because it was one at a WrestleMania and two, you knew the end was coming for Shawn? Or was it because storyline based? Because
I think in a lot of respects to both of them, the reason 25 is up there so much is because it was the Streak versus Mr. WrestleMania, and you knew they were gonna blow it out of the water. between the two of them, being that it was WrestleMania.
Thank you to Raymond Hoy Jr. for that one. And we'll do one more since it's a couple on here. Savage and Steamboat by Darren Lee and also Justin Sachs.
Great match. I wouldn't put
Fuck
it
2K24.
Time out, TJ. It can't just be an inside joke with us. You need to tell us why you hate that match so much.
Because I still haven't beat the damn thing in 2K24. It's like the first match you're supposed to do in the showcase, and Savage won't die.
It's a great match. Don't get me wrong. It's the there's been better Intercontinental title matches. I'll put it to you that way. Savage and Steamboat, I think, loses a little bit for me after knowing that there was a whole notepad of things, and I understand Savage wanted to make sure that everything went
Wasn't he
right
like
'cause it's
really neurotic
WrestleMania.
about it?
Yeah, but it's like that kind of loses a little bit for me because I like the 80s style wrestling because they don't talk about it. They just go to the ring and let it happen.
Call
And
it in
that's
the
how
ring.
you get those organic film matches. I can't go back and watch that match now knowing that it's not organic, that it's basically move for move sheet list on the sheet.
Didn't they practice it the 3 days leading up to it?
I don't remember. I kind of lost touch on it.
All
But
right. Well,
it's good, but I would not put it on my Rushmore or
That-
in the Hall of Fame.
that was our little break.
It can't be there right now, but someday WrestleMania 40 Sunday.
I think by the time this whole Bloodline feud's over with, that what we watched Sunday night at WrestleMania will be an afterthought.
Yes.
I don't know, dude. I will
speak-
never forget that gong hit, man.
A little
Ever.
bit of a that's not even the one I would pop for the most at this point. A little
I
bit
did.
of a spoiler for tomorrow night.
I fangirled.
Join us right here on the Nerds Wrestling with Nerds Facebook page or the Nerds Doing Nerd Things YouTube channel. Definitely it'll be Ryan. It'll be myself. TJ, don't know if he'll be with us. He might be doing some other things watching wrestling. But we are going to have a live reaction video as Raw is going on. It'll be us two talking about what is happening in the ring. And during the commercials, we will break down, honestly, the last week or so, week and a half of wrestling until the commercial break is over with. I'm excited for it. It's all Ryan's idea to do this. Unfortunately, I don't see this being a thing for
Won't be sustainable
while.
on Mondays.
It won't be sustainable on Mondays. That is correct, because we do have a league starting up.
Fridays, maybe.
Yes, very much so. Wouldn't mind that. But I go out a lot on Fridays now, apparently.
It's kind of like a Madden or Manning cast is what we're gonna attempt to.
The only
have
thing we
fun with.
can't do is show you what is happening
Yeah.
on Raw. You can't listen to it from our end either. But we will give you timestamps. We will let
Do it
you
on
know
TikTok,
what's
apparently.
happening. We can't do TikTok having a
I
different
know,
screen than
I know.
everything else.
I know. I'm just saying, apparently you can do it on TikTok.
Then you're only going to TikTok. But everybody, we are back to St. Patty's Day 1997. Monday Night Raw. Raw is War from Syracuse, New York. This is the penultimate episode, the go-home show to WrestleMania 13. That was a lot of air. The Legion of Doom, Road Warrior Hawk defeating the Nation of Domination by DQ. That's leading into LOD's match at WrestleMania 13. And I think that's against Vader. Oh, no, it's not.
No. The Legion of Doom end up teaming with Ahmed Johnson to
That's where
face
it
the
is, that's
Nation
where it
of
is.
Domination in a Chicago street fight.
For a street fight, there wasn't a lot of street fighting. But I digress.
Dude, I don't even think they're in the ring for the entire at all in the match.
I was expecting him to actually tear the place down. Um, Triple H or Hunter Hearst Helmsley defeats Flash Funk. TJ, if you don't know who Flash Funk is, he's got the Funkadactyls like pre-edition.
They're the Funkettes.
You know what I mean. This next one was kind of funny. Mini Goldust and how the hell do you say that, Ryan? Masquerita defeating Mini Mankind and Mini Vader.
Mascaria Sangra Jr.
Bless you.
Yeah, this is where they took the idea of let's take the minis and let's make them mini superstars. So we get mini Goldust and mini Mankind and mini Vader.
All I did was picture WLC.
As a 9-year-old kid, I enjoyed the hell out of this. I thought
hey,
it was
they're
fun.
my size.
Because I'm like, why are those kids wrestling? I can do that.
The Sultan with Bob Backlund and the Iron Sheik building him up to face Rocky Maivia at WrestleMania. The British Bulldog then defeats Vader to retain the WWF European Championship, kind of showing that anybody can end up taking that European Championship. You don't have to just be from Europe or Canada or somewhere like that. That was a really good match. Still some issues with Owen and Bulldog, which is going to keep brewing for quite a while. Psycho Sid defeats Bret Hart in a steel cage match. This match, there was so much hype throughout the night going to it, because is Psycho Sid going to go face The Undertaker for the WWF Championship? Or is Bret Hart going to go face Stone Cold Steve Austin for the WWF Championship? And at the end of this match, all four of them are in the bottom right pillar fighting each other on top of the steel cage to secure a championship match for their match at WrestleMania 13. Psycho Sid ends up winning, so that then pushes Undertaker and Psycho Sid for the championship, while Bret and Austin are still just a submission match. What a hell of an ending to end Monday Night Raw there.
Is this not the blow up with Bret after the match? I believe this is the blow up where he says that he's pissed off, or pissed off isn't even the word for it. And this is where he goes
where they're taking up the cage and he's ripping everybody.
Yeah, he goes into a tangent and just destroys Vince on the microphone. And this is the start of the Bret Hart Canadian heel turn here.
Yeah.
And he's had it. He's fed up. Every time he's tried to win a championship or have a match, somebody interferes. People are not letting him wrestle. They're stopping him from being able to beat people that he should be beating.
A great go home show, in my opinion, leading into WrestleMania 13. Everything's being hyped up.
Vince has an interview with Shawn and invites himself to the Slammies, and then says he's going to be sitting ringside for WrestleMania.
Yep.
So, and just to run down real quick, for the Slammies from 1997.
Yeah, I didn't watch those.
They were interesting. They only did them on TV every once in a while. The new sensation of the year of 1997, the presenter was Ahmed Johnson. The winner was Rocky Maivia. Best dressed presenters were the Honky Tonk Man. Shout out to the Honky Tonk Man. And Sydney Margolis. If you don't know who Sydney Margolis is, you didn't have AOL, because she was the most searched, one of the most searched women on internet history. The winner of Best Dressed was Sable. Shocker.
Wow.
Best Tattoo presenters were Adam and George. Adam and George were two WWE fans that they used to do the promotional videos for pay-per-views, like the lead up to them.
Mhm.
Like, what are you doing tonight? Oh, I'm going to WrestleMania, and then they're on the trip. They actually worked for the WWF in other areas. But best tattoos, of course, it goes to the Undertaker. I don't think there's any better tattoos than the Undertaker. So you gotta think this is for the year beforehand. Match of the year, the presenter was Jim Ross. The winner was Shawn Michaels versus Bret Hart at WrestleMania 12 in an Iron Man match. Best hair, the presenters were Legion of Doom, which, if you remember Legion of Doom's haircut, I don't know if they have the best hair.
One's got a mohawk.
The other one has a reverse mohawk. The winner was Hunter Hearst Helmsley. The Loose Screw Award, the presenter was Sonny and Captain Lou Albano. Now, how interesting do you think that conversation was? Of course, the loose screw goes to Mankind. Could have went to Psycho Sid. Also, the nominees for the loose screw, it's the one that stands out the most. Mankind, Psycho Sid, Steve Austin, Bob Backlund, or Cosmo Kramer from Seinfeld.
Oh, okay.
Also for best tattoos, the nominees were Undertaker, Crush, Shawn Michaels, Tommy Lee, or Drew Barrymore.
Like Tommy Lee.
Pamela Anderson's husband. At
Like
the
the
time.
video, Tommy Lee.
Yeah.
We can talk about his music career, just the video.
Best bow tie.
I mean,
The
you ask
host-
people if they know him for his video career, the video.
The best bow tie. The presenter was Owen Hart, and your nominees were Owen Hart, Clarence Mason, Bob Backlund, Steve Urkel, or Yokozuna.
Was this presented on USA?
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense.
The winner was Owen Hart.
It's me. Well, was it actually him, or did he just say it was me?
I think it was Owen Hart, but I think this literally he becomes a 2-time Slammy winner because he won Best Bow Tie. Best Entrance Music, presented by Doc Hendricks and John McNally. The nominees were The Undertaker, Jesse James, Farouk, Flash Funk, and Sonny. The winner, of course, was The Undertaker. Best Finisher, the presenter was Brian Pillman. And the nominees were Shawn Michaels, Sweet Chin Music, Mark Marrow, The Wild Thing, Psycho Sid, The Power Bomb, Steve Austin, The Stone Cold Stunner, and Bret Hart, The Sharpshooter. The winner, of course, was Shawn Michaels with the Sweet Chin Music. How many goddamn categories are in this thing? Best Couple. Then the presenters are
Ryan, holy cow!
Vince McMahon and Jerry Lawler were the presenters. And the nominees were, get ready, Chyna and Triple H, Mark Marrow and Sable, Goldust and Marlena, Bill and Hillary Clinton, or Siegfried and Roy. The winners were
Slammy's gonna be
Goldust.
longer than an episode of Nitro.
The Goldust and Marlena were
And
the
more
winners.
interesting.
Freedom of speech. Presenters were Bob Backlund and Mancow.
Was
Mancow
this like
is
the
a
right to
radio.
censor?
We're almost done. Freedom of speech. Bob Backlund and Mancow. Mancow was a radio disc jockey in Chicago. So the nominees were Jerry the King Lawler,
Mhm.
Farouk, Paul E. Dangerously, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and Howard Stern.
We talking about that Howard Stern?
Yes, because Mad Cow and Howard Stern didn't get along. That's why they did that. That was funny. But the winner was Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Wasn't this right around Private Parts too?
Yes.
Because I believe they mentioned something about Private Parts at one point on Nitro.
Star of the highest magnitude. What the fuck? The presenters Walter Payton, and the winner was The Undertaker. It's the top 5 guys in the WWF this time. Taker, Austin, Brett, Sid, Shawn.
Is that it?
Lifetime Achievement Award.
Dear
Gorilla
God.
Monsoon and Psycho Sid were the presenters. The winner was Arnold Skolin. And then, of course, the award that we're all here to see because they came out in bikinis. The Miss Slammy Award, presented by Todd Pettengill. The nominees were the Funkettes, China, Marlena, Sunny, and Sable. The
And
winner, of
Sable
course,
wins.
was Sable.
Shocker.
Sorry I ran through that. I thought that'd be more fun than what it was.
That was a lot of slammies. Holy
So
cow.
we're St. Patty's Day. We're at the Savannah Civic Center in Savannah, Georgia. And
Yeah, it's my show.
let's wonder how the aftermath of Uncensored will relay on everybody.
I mean, we actually get a lot more. These next 3 Nitros are filled with a lot of segments and stuff because I have a lot of notes, way more than I did for the beginning of the month. Match wise for the evening, we get Mysterio versus Psychosis. DDP defeats Max. Conan and Hugh Morris versus the Renegade and Joe Gomez. Malenko defeats Scotty Riggs to retain his title.
Luger and the Giant defeat
Knuckles, Nelson, and Tarantula.
Sounds like a one-sided affair there.
Squash match. The Ultimo Dragon defeats Bobby Eaton. Jeff Jarrett and Mongo defeat Alex Wright and Mark Starr. Scott Norton defeats Chavo. This is the Outsiders defending whenever they feel like it because they can challenge whenever they want. They can also defend whenever they want. They defeat Bunkhouse Buck and Mike Enos to retain their tag team championships.
Bunkhouse Buck had a spot on WWE where he is Jack Swagger's father. But move on.
Redacted defeats Billy Kidman. And the Steiners fought Harlem Heat to a no contest.
I'm going to take a wild guess to say that's a no contest because they were attacked.
Because the NWO tried to jump. It's my last note of the evening. Luger and the Giant help make the save, and Sting appears again. Ominously points his bat right at the soul of NWO, Hollywood Hogan. As Hogan's sitting there going, "He's pointing at me, brother." We top of the show, we get Arn Anderson coming out, addressing that he's hurt and he needs surgery, and he wants to bury the hatchet with Sullivan as far as their actual issues go. Kind of a moment. It's weird, but it is what it is. Guessing Arn was really hurt. DDP says he's going to get revenge after what happened to him and his wife. Savage challenges him to a match from the crowd, to which DDP chases him off. Flair cuts a promo saying he should have known something was off with Piper when Piper wanted to quit and go home and be a dad. Next couple of weeks, we get Flair kind of insulting Piper until he does. And then, we get the moment where the NWO try to jump them, and bat-wielding Sting appears. Go to Mania!
We've heard enough from me and AJ, so let's go with you again.
Oh, we're going to
March 24th. We are at the Duluth Convention Center in Duluth, Minnesota.
Hold on, let me catch up. We get match-wise, besides the load.
I think we can go through this one pretty quickly because match-wise doesn't matter except for the last match.
Yeah, we do have one title defense. Malenko beats Conan via submission. That might be the only other match until the end. Prince Iakea versus Randy Savage ends in a no contest.
Yeah, because Savage.
Oh, we do get a women's match though. Medusa fights.
Medusa finally has her WCW debut and her match. I believe. She's had a couple of things, but she's been off for a while. She's been in Japan wrestling, and she shows up here for an unexpected match. But Prince Iakea, the NWO can challenge for a title whenever they want. So he decides he wants to challenge for the television title. And everybody was like, Savage is going to be the TV champion by the end of the night, because there is no way Prince Iakea is gonna beat him. Well, he didn't have to beat him because I think Diamond Dallas Page helps him.
Well, sort of. Paige tries to get to the ring to help him, but he gets cut off. But in him getting cut off, the NWO get involved, which caused the match to get thrown out.
Yeah.
So that's how he doesn't end up losing. Top of the show, Malenko cuts a promo how he's saying it's real convenient that Eddie is always around when Six is around and Six is always around when Eddie's around. Also says that he respects Redacted and wants him to step up and prove himself and take the TV title or the US title. If he can. Steiner's cut a promo about fighting the outsiders at Spring Stampede. Randomly during the Public Enemies match, Jeff Jarrett comes out with Deborah, no Mongo, and the Halliburton. Hits him with it, costs him the match. And as they're leaving, Mongo meets him in the idol and asks if, the hell is going on here? Am I being set up? And as they kind of cut away, he goes, I think I'm being set up for a short walk off a long beer.
That's one of my favorite lines.
I know. Mongo says it. It's why I made note of it. It made me laugh. I thought of you. We also get the Giant and Lex cutting a promo about Spring Stampede and fighting Hogan and how the WCW has stole the balance of power back thanks to Sting.
All right. Well, that wraps up the whole year, the month of March for you, correct? Or you have one more?
March 31st Nitro.
Yep.
Well, we're gonna swing to AJ because it is time for WrestleMania.
WrestleMania from the Rosemont Horizon in Rosemont, Illinois, or Chicago, Illinois.
What did Ron call this one the other day? Is this like the Ally Arena now or something? Remember the whole argument?
I don't remember what it is called now.
So, to start the pay-per-view, the Headbangers beat the New Blackjacks, the Godwins, and Doug Furnace and Philip on a 4-way elimination tag match. I thought this was a very fun match. I kind of wish the New Blackjacks won, to be honest with you. I think they should have. But the Headbangers do come out victorious. Rocky Maivia in the next match defeats the Sultan to hold on to that WWF Intercontinental Championship. That was another decent match trying to get Rocky Maivia over.
The Bloodline match.
Oh, that's right. The Sultan's Rikishi.
The Sultan is Rikishi.
You can't tell.
And then
cannot tell.
And then Rocky Johnson's in the crowd.
Doesn't he?
Doesn't he?
Comes in and takes out Sheiky Baby.
Sheiky Baby. Hunter Hearst Helmsley defeats Goldust. I would assume this ends their feud. Another really good match, back and forth. The way China ragdolls Marlena here is scary. Picture this Twizzler is Marlena, and my finger is China. Ryan, how wrong is that? She's literally got her in a bear hug and just starts, and Marlena just goes limp and lets it happen.
So wrong on so many levels.
But the analogy is correct, though, isn't it?
We're gonna get canceled because of a Twizzler.
More wacky and wavy inflatably than the freaking Bailey doll.
Next.
He can't. We broke him.
I put that on a t-shirt. I got canceled because of a Twizzler.
Done. The British Bulldog and Owen Hart versus Mankind and Paul Bearer ends in a double count out. This is going to lead on what happens Monday and the week after. But
we're gonna get Heyman saying, "Suck my dang Twizzler."
I don't know if you watch SmackDown, but we ain't getting much of Paul anytime soon.
Well, I mean, we're not supposed to talk about it, Ryan.
Yeah, you and I are at least gonna talk about it tomorrow night. I don't know what TJ's gonna do.
Say his name and he appears.
But
next.
In my
I'll
opinion,
be at
the
Raw.
best match of the night.
I would
Hands
hope.
down. Bret Hart defeats Stone Cold Steve Austin by knockout in a submission match
Bret
with
the
Ken Shamrock
Man
as
Hart.
the special guest referee. They made it a very much a point of emphasis that you are going to have to give up and submit. And to see that Stone Cold gets busted open by getting thrown into the railing behind the announcer's table, gets cut, whatever, okay. And then the actual pool of blood that you could see him force himself into when he gets put into the sharpshooter, he's forcing all that blood to go to his head and just continuously to pour out of his head. And then there's out of nowhere, it goes.
Good thing this wasn't an I quit match, or he wouldn't have quit. Match would have
He
continued.
didn't submit. He
Couldn't
didn't say
submit.
I quit. That is beautiful storytelling.
Yeah, except when the match continues, i.e. Cody Rhodes.
Well, this one it didn't. Ken Shamrock, which he will say the next Monday night on Raw, then the following day, is I called for the bell because Stone Cold Steve Austin couldn't defend himself.
Yeah, and you get sympathy for Stone Cold Steve Austin, which was hard to come by, and that's why you get the double turn. You get Brett getting booed, and all you got to do for this match is watch the beginning, watch the entrances, and watch after the bell rings.
Well,
Because Brett is cheered entering and he is booed leaving, and
he
Austin
also
is booed entering and cheered leaving.
He also flips Stone Cold over after the match and starts beating the shit out of him to the point where Ken Shamrock grabs Bret Hart, throws him a good 5 feet, and then,
Yeah.
you want to go?
Yeah.
And at that point, walking back to the locker room, TJ, this is legit. I don't know if you've actually seen WrestleMania
I've seen
13.
this.
Bret Hart gets out of the ring, and the boos are so loud. I had to.
This is the end of the Bret Hart as we know it.
But they give Stone Cold an extra minute or so to. And he, through his own power, gets through that curtain. And once again, with cheers.
Yeah, and it's another merchandise thing for Stone Cold because I think it's within the next 2 weeks we get the red Austin 316 shirts
I just got
that have
goosebumps.
Austin on the back and it says blood from a stone. Of course I had it. I had the black and white one too.
I still, to this day, do not have a Stone Cold t-shirt.
I had a lot of Stone Cold t-shirts. I wore to school one day by mistake. The shirt that says "Other Side Jackass." I wore it to school, not thinking about it.
I still, to this day, at my father's house, have a Stone Cold Steve Austin poster taped to my door.
For anybody watching at home, I'm a late bloomer wrestling fan. I didn't start watching wrestling till around 2004, 2005.
You missed all the fun stuff.
This was the first time I saw this whole pay-per-view, not just the whole pay-per-view, this whole match in its entirety. And this was one I actually watched at home. So, I was at my computer screen the whole time because everybody knows
the best part about this series is just AJ's recounting of things we've seen.
I'm happy I got WWF, bitch.
Hey, I went with the year. You wanted some bozo year.
Well, we went with your year, so I got first pick with who I wanted.
Good thing we went with my year.
I could tell you, if I got WCW and had to deal with what you're dealing with, I don't know if I'd be playing this game much longer.
You know, the worst part is, though, like, I'm enjoying it. It's just chaotic and fucking...
It's just not what I'm getting.
Well, no. But, I mean, it's not bad either. Like,
It sounds bad.
I'm enjoying not so much the NWO stuff, but like watching Mongo actually like progress as a character has been really fun.
Well, you say
Like,
Mongo, and I picture the dude from the Mel Brooks movies.
No.
Well, but like that's honestly, like at this point through March, my favorite character has been Steve Mongo McMichael. I mean, he's on every week. He's got something going on, and Deborah's hilarious. I'm not one to what is she? I'm not one to tell rumors, but
Yeah.
she like
So anyhow,
literally spills all the rumors.
Let's finish WrestleMania up here.
So Legion of Doom, Hawk and Animal, and Ahmed Johnson defeat the Nation of Domination, Crush, Farouk, and Sabio Vega in a 6-man Chicago street fight, which Ryan mentioned it. They're barely in the ring. I as much as they built to this, I wanted it better.
I haven't gone back and watched this match in a while, but I can remember from the first time I watched it when WrestleMania happened, and I thought that when Legion of Doom and Ahmed Johnson, all three, walked out in shoulder pads with spikes on them, I thought that was the most baddest thing I have ever seen in my life.
Somebody should have hit over the head with the biggest pizza they could find.
This is great.
Was another Ron reference. That's two for this show.
I do love the fact that they're having a street fight. They have all this weapons and everything. And if you pay attention to the match, I think it's King that makes the comment, and he goes, "They're using everything but the kitchen sink." Cue about 2 minutes later, the kitchen sink comes out, and it's like, holy crap, they have a kitchen sink. D'Lo Brown is one of the entourage for Nation of Domination here. He hasn't joined the nation yet. He takes some bumps. He takes the Pearl River plunge from Ahmed through a table. It's a nice little spot. It was weird to see the LOD wearing gloves because they're wearing like biker gloves because it's a street fight and all the weapons and everything. It's not the LOD that had the huge pops in the 80s. You could tell they were starting to wind down with their work progress.
They're so over though that it covers a lot of that.
Yeah, I just remember then to find out the things about the shoulder pads and how Ahmed never gave them back to him, and he can kiss my ass for that. And they're not here anymore. It's sad that the greatest tag team of the 80s is no longer with us.
That's right. Both of them have passed at this point.
Yeah. So
I still remember, what was it, Animal with Heidenreich?
Yeah, that was a Legion of Doom that we don't want to remember.
Is his kid still playing football?
Last I saw, he was a coach at Notre Dame.
Nice.
Or he may have went back to Ohio
Notre
State.
Dame, TJ, Ryan. You love Notre Dame?
Yeah, we're both Notre Dame fans, you bozo.
I don't watch college football because I have nothing to root for with college football.
Well, that's because Connecticut sucks.
But you want to know what sport they don't suck in?
Gonna come beat you with this hockey stick.
Connecticut has 3 really good college hockey teams, but they have 1 really good college basketball team.
Yeah. Keep hanging your hat on that hook, and eventually it'll die off.
Maybe somebody will actually care about college basketball for more than a month someday.
So let's go to the main event. The Undertaker defeats Psycho Sid by pinfall.
This was a very
anything of this match stand out to you?
I'm missing something then, because I thought it was just a really good match.
It was a really good match. But how about the throwback for the Undertaker? He's been wearing this goth wear for 2 years now with the black
And the little teardrop and
here he shows up and he's back to old Undertaker with the gray boots and the gray gloves. Did you
I
not take notice that
I
he's
did
wearing
not.
his original gear for WrestleMania 13?
I did not.
Wow. That's interesting.
Because
But
when I
yeah,
picture Undertaker with the gloves, they're purple.
yeah, he's wearing retro. This is the original Undertaker. Well, not the original, because he originally wore black gloves. But this is the gray gloves, the gray boots. This is the beating Hulk Hogan because he's winning this. Guys, keep in mind, this is only the Undertaker's second WWF title win.
What does he end with?
What do you mean? What does he end with?
Total
Like,
titles?
This is his second. How many titles does the Undertaker have?
7.
Give me a sec. I'm looking.
Right, had Sid been with WCW between here and like the early 90s?
Yes, Sid started in WCW. Then he came to the WWF and was Sid Justice when he fought Hogan at WrestleMania 8.
And
Then he went
Warrior
away.
saved him.
Then he went back to WCW for a time. Then he stabbed Arn Anderson. And then he got fired and he went away and he come back to the WWF. And that's how he got the moniker of Psycho.
So,
was this the run where he has the stop, let's do that over moment? We can't, we're live.
No, that's
that
when he
before?
goes back. He goes back to WCW after this run. And that's when he does this whole we're live thing.
That was hilarious.
So, Undertaker is a 3-time world heavyweight champion and a 4-time WWF WWE champion.
Yeah,
Because
because
you
he
didn't
wins
put the belt on your shoulder.
He wins the
there.
WWF title.
I have
He
it
wins the-
like perfectly.
He wins the WWF title 3 times, and he wins the WWE title 1 time. He beat Hogan, he beat Sid, and he beat Stone Cold for the WWF titles. And then he's also the only man in history to ever beat Hulk Hogan twice for a world championship, because then he is the guy that takes the WWE title off of Hulk Hogan in 2002.
I still can't believe Hulk Hogan had it in 2002.
Let's not forget, little trivia fact for you people that like doing trivia contests. Hulk Hogan is the last WWF champion and is the first WWE champion.
That's when they got the F out.
That's when they got the F out, was after Hogan beat Triple H at Backlash.
When the World Wildlife Foundation came a calling.
The
Yeah.
funny story about that is that was only a U.S. issue. They could have kept WWF around the world and only had to change that in the U.S.
I just never understood why they got away with it for so long before the World Wildlife Foundation was like, oh.
Because WWF was making a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
I would have been like, so we'll give you a donation if you just go away.
So let's go. We'll wrap this up. We're at the Roanoke, Virginia Civic Center. It's March 31st, 1997 for Monday Night Nitro.
Don't I need to do my March 24th Raw?
We probably want to finish with you
Right.
because mine's probably shit.
I'll be right back.
Luger and the Giant defeat Rick Fuller and Roadblock. Ayakea defeats La Parka to retain. Jericho defeats Lord Steven Regal. Great match. FYI.
Arika Hiroko.
Yeah. Akira
Hiroko
Hakuto.
beats Debbie Combs for the WCW Women's Championship. It's
We
one
have
of the
one of
only
those?
times we see that title.
We
Why?
have one of
Because-
those?
Yeah, and it was defended more in Japan than it was in the States.
That's what I heard. Is this where we get our recent, somewhere along this line, our recent Hall of Fame inductee?
Well, Nagato, we've already had her. She was already in
Oh.
WCW when Medusa first came over.
Oh, I was hoping to catch. I was honestly hoping to catch her. French Canadians defeated Jarrett and Mongo. I believe there's an issue with the Halliburton getting schwacked upside somebody's head again.
Toshi Umatsu defeated
Minatetsu.
Amiko Samuro.
Sure. Redacted.
She still wrestles.
Oh, those are women. Good
Yeah,
to know.
the Satomuro, she still wrestles. She wrestled in NXT and AEW in the last 2 years.
Oh, I remember this. They go like off into the crowd or something at the end.
Probably.
Redacted defeats Humorous. DDP defeats Lance Bringo, and the Steiner brothers defeat High Voltage. That's the match. Let's get to the notes. Oh, this was a fun night. So to start the night off, the NWO show up and they seem off and worried because not everybody's there. Harlem Heat cut a promo about Spring Stampede. Another NWO moment where it appears there is some dissension within the NWO ranks. Flair comes out to shoot on Piper again, and Piper shows up. Surprisingly, no one knew. They agree to work together. Something about going out and drinking, and if Piper comes, Flair will work with him. Kind of a confusing promo. It was Flair and Piper in the ring. They got their pop. Regal cuts a promo about he's going to get his belt back, and then he's going to take out Rey Mysterio. You see Mr. Wall Street leave the building, being so, not confident in the NWO at the moment. Another little Horseman promo about what had happened earlier in the night. They're still not on the same page. Now, that's when we get the match. Now, the rest of the other members of the Horsemen are in the ring after the Dungeon of Doom had jumped Redacted, having beat Hugh Morris, and they kind of fend him off. And there's a moment where Sullivan and Arn kind of come face to face, and Sullivan says to him, "Let me by," and Arn just kind of lets him go. I think that's kind of a continuation of the whole them two trying to bury the hatchet thing. We get DDP in a promo on Savage about bringing that bimbo Liz to the thing. The Spring Stampede that's coming up. I believe it kicks the month off. I think this is the go home show for Spring Stampede, which makes a lot of sense why there was a lot more promos for this one. Then we get Six and Nash to close out the night. They come to the announce table, kick our hosts away, and Nash says the rest of the NWO needs to get focused. If he has to, he will stand on his own, which the whole time he's cutting this promo, Six is right next to him, kind of like, yeah, we'll do that. And he says, he closes
because of a Twizzler.
He closes with, if he has to, he will take on WCW all by himself. Again, with Six standing over his shoulder. But yeah.
You got to remember, there's the NWO, and then there's the Click. The Click is Nash, Hall, and and Six.
He did mention Hall was dealing with something. I don't know if you know what was going on.
He just wasn't on TV.
Nash says it was something actually kind of important. So Hall's dealing with something important. He'll be here. Don't worry.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was that Nitro. It's our go home show. Again, flip back over to the other page. We get the Steiners defeating High Voltage as the main event on the go home show for.
So the Steiners beat the Steiners. Gotcha.
For Spring Stampede. Spring Stampede. Say that 10 times fucking fast. Holy shit. Anyway, Raw after Mania.
The Raw after Mania has the Headbangers defeating the British Bulldog and Owen Hart in, what do you guess, a DQ for the WWF Tag Team Championships. So another team beats Bulldog and Owen Hart, doesn't get the titles.
Right, I want to see you make on 2K24 the Headbangers versus Insane Clown Posse versus Public Enemy in a hardcore tag team match. First blood match.
Right. Then Hunter.
What are you saying right for? ICP is a legit tag team.
Hunter Hearst Helmsley with China defeating Bart Gunn. This is what I was alluding to earlier when China body slams Bart Gunn on the side of the ring. And she doesn't struggle picking anybody up. She gets him up like he's a feather and drops him down like he's a sack of puppies.
Is this before or after he screws up their whole bare knuckle tournament thing?
Before.
Sure. I actually don't know what you're talking about.
There was a whole like
We're talking about Brawl for All.
There was like a bare knuckle boxing tournament thing they did, and Bart Gunn won when he wasn't supposed to.
Yeah, Bart Gunn wasn't supposed to be the winner. They thought somebody else was going to win it, and Bart Gunn wins it. But anyhow,
And then they had Butterbean murder him.
Can you pronounce the next match?
Why? 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 Los Cadets del S. Ryan's an asshole.
Where's your little translator app, AJ?
Not on camera.
Los Cadets del Spacio. They're the cadets of space. They're space cadets.
That would explain the helmets.
Their names are Discovery, Supernova, and Venom.
Don't they know Discovery blew up?
You know the LA Angels?
Not yet.
Not yet. Oh, that was 98. Oops. Spoiler.
You know the LA Angels renamed themselves the Angels?
What?
Although
LA is Los Angeles. The Angels. The LA Angels are literally the Angels.
Yeah. And they fought Abismo Negro, El Masco, and Hysteria.
Did you just call that man an abysmal Negro? I don't think you can say that on stream.
That is what his name is.
I don't think you can say that on stream.
I believe in. I don't know Spanish or Mexican language at all. I apologize, but I believe that means black abyss. Could be wrong, but I don't care if I am.
As opposed to the white abyss.
Well,
WCW.
The next match, Flash Funk defeats the Brooklyn Brawler. This is the first time I'm seeing Brooklyn Brawler this year on Raw.
Jobber.
And that's exactly what happened. Then Rocky Maifia defeats Lee Cassidy, Al Snow. This was very much a recap episode.
Yes, I was right. It's Spanish for black abyss.
Oh.
You are the guru.
This episode of Monday Night Raw, right after Mania, was more of a recap episode of what happened at Mania. There were a lot of interviews. Very light on the match card and a light on the wrestlers that performed at the Mania the night before. But Ahmed Johnson defeats Savio Vega by DQ. Wow, DQ gets so many wins.
And the other one does mean Space Cadets.
You're so proud of yourself.
I am. Suck that foreign language teacher in high school.
Oh shit.
You'll never learn this if you don't study.
I never took a foreign language class.
Dude,
I don't know English well enough to take a foreign language.
Dude, you also graduated before half your class did.
Oh. That's the art of a GED.
So then we go to March 31st from Peoria, Illinois, Peoria Civic Center. British Bulldog versus Owen Hart. This is cool. I liked where this went. Ends in a no contest because Bret Hart comes out and is like, whoa! Whoa! We're family. We don't need to be doing this. We should not be doing this.
Did he get booed the whole way to the ring?
And he turns it on that the WWE is forcing, or the WWF is forcing the Hart family to fight each other, and they should be together.
Yeah.
And this is the start of the Hart Foundation.
Then El Moscow defeats Supernova. This next match means nothing, but what happens after the match is pure gold.
I wonder what El Moscow is.
Jesse James defeats Jerry Fox, which after the match, the Honky Talk Man, our wonderful, beautiful, awesome person who does our open, comes to
It means mosquito.
The mosquito versus who?
Supernova.
Who's the guy?
Supernova.
I think the Supernova would beat the mosquito.
After the match, the Honky Tonk Man comes into the ring and is basically bestowing the next greatest of all time to Jesse James. And Jesse James is like, wow, what a guitar! Awesome! Bang! Bang! And then hands it back to Honky Tonk and then walks out. I thought it was hilarious. I really did.
Man, guitars beat up a lot of people.
Well, it didn't beat anybody up. Next match, the Nation of Domination, Crush and Savio Vega defeat Adam O'Brien and Rod Bell. Squash match. Not even close. But as I mentioned at Mania, I thought it was going to end the feud. Goldust defeats Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Ryan, where could they be going with this? I thought Mania was a really good, like, it's done. It's a done point. Why? I don't understand why they keep going. It's still a good match. Goldust wins by DQ, but what the hell? All I know is China keeps getting involved.
Have to wait to find out.
Dang it, I thought you were going to spill something. And just because he couldn't win the WWF title, he's in an attempt to beat Rocky Maivia for the WWF Intercontinental title. He's dropping it down a peg. But when that all becomes futile, here comes the Hart Foundation, and here comes LOD. And
Who's fighting for the Intercontinental?
Rocky Maivia and Bret Hart.
Oh.
He didn't specify on who he was talking about.
Well, I figured you would know.
He forgets.
I'm talking a lot of information has gone in and out of this freaking head.
And that's how this Raw ends. The Legion of Doom hits the ring, starts wailing on the Hart Foundation, and we're done. Camera goes off and off to the next show.
What a rush.
That pop when they started running down that ramp was disgusting. But
thanks to our new favorite internet phrase, they got made relevant again this past couple weeks.
What? What?
So that was March for both my WWF and TJ's WCW. In the chat, who won? Before
cough. You Raw WWF cough.
I was gonna say, just so we know before next one starts, you're already up 3-0.
I'm pretty sure you won after my second episode of Nitro was a go home show with Kevin Sullivan and I don't even remember who.
Well, if
Hard Body Harrison.
If this is anything like
Redacted 2,
how sports playoffs have been in the last couple months, a 3-0 is not safe.
No kidding.
But then again, you get the 3-3. The first team does end up winning that. Happened 3 times in the playoffs. But Ryan, you got any closing?
Well, you figure this is a 12-game matchup, and you got as long as you don't go up 7-0, we're good.
Are you gonna fix it?
I don't think you're gonna go up 7-0 because I do remember a lot of cool things happen in WCW in the later months.
Ryan's gonna fix it, so we're.
Well, we also get that post-Mania lull that we've literally experienced this year. That has pretty much come to an end, I think, at this point.
Oh, yeah, we're on the road to SummerSlam, my guy.
I can't wait. Which, speaking of that, tune in tomorrow night right here on the Nerds Doing Nerd Things YouTube page, the Wrestling with Nerds Facebook page. Ryan and myself are going to recap the week that has been during the commercials of this week's Monday Night Raw.
Might not be the only ones.
Yeah, well, then you're going to have to leave your boyfriend.
Normally racing on a Monday night. He's probably not even going to be on.
Yeah, well. All right, everybody. Peace out. We'll see you later.
You're not my tribal chief, AJ.
Well, that was.
It'll
loud.
take more than the two of us to pick your big ass up and put you through a table.
I don't even think a wheelchair or a forklift will do.
The forklift will do it.